Welcome back for our bumper sports package this morning. Joining me is our sports correspondent, Sebastian Salifu. Good morning, Sebastian.
Good morning, Shagun. Good morning.
I feel like every time we have the opportunity
Yeah.
to sit and discuss,
Yeah.
we have so much already packed together for us.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it straight.
Okay.
I know you are yet to recover from that shock of yesterday, the Super Falcons. So we're going to look at it in a bit.
Yeah.
The historic setback from the Super Falcons, the first time they will be missing out on the Female World Cup, and that has set tongues wagging all around town. And also the Tigress bouncing back against China, talking about basketball,
Yeah.
and the European transfer window that has gone so crazy. Lots of shocks here and there.
Yeah.
So there's so much to talk about this morning. Let's just go straight into it now.
Okay.
The Super Falcons.
Yeah.
There is no better place to kick off from that point. What happened?
Very sad. Very sad. Super Falcons. We coming into the tournament. We all know that they actually were not prepared enough. It came to a time where they had to beg the NFF to get friendlies for them, right? We had like 5 days to the WAFCON. They played Senegal, and 5 days to the tournament. It's a risk for the team. You had to play 5 days to the tournament. You look at injuries. You didn't think that these players, we cannot put them into the field 5 days before. They should be resting mentally, psychologically. So the preparation was poor, number one. Number two, a very bad start, because preparation is key. Very bad start. You played Malawi, debutants, and you lost the first game. Very poor one. I think we all knew it was coming. It was coming. And just before the match yesterday against South Africa, we saw that a lot of persons were speaking about the tactics of the coach, Coach Madugu. They said the tactics is not
Not
at
there.
that level that they want the team to be. So it's first of all is I would not just blame the team. I would think that most of the fault would come from the Nigerian sports governing body, which is the NFF, personally.
I'll get to that. In case you're just joining us and you're wondering what actually happened to the Super Falcons, yes, they crashed out yesterday, 2-1 against the Bayana of South Africa. Yeah, and that was supposed to be a playoff match, a playoff that could have given them the hope of reaching the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil. And they crashed out yesterday in Casablanca. I can remember Michel Aluzi sobbing. I know
Yeah.
what that meant
No,
meant to
it's
her.
painful.
So where do we go from here? What's next for women's football?
Personally, I think, like I said, uh, there needs to be a restructuring, like an overhaul of the governing body. In a month time, we have the elections, the NFF elections. So I think it's going to start from there. Because if there is no change in the restructuring, that overhaul, there should possibly an overhaul of the
The administration.
yes. If there's no overhaul, I think I'm not sure Nigerian football.
Because
will
for Gusso, who is currently the NFF chairman,
Yeah.
and he has done a couple of terms. I think he has done like 2 terms or thereabouts. And some people have been calling for his removal. That come, let someone else do this thing.
Yeah.
Let's try new hands. And some other people have been saying, okay, most times we have people who barely know anything about football, about sports,
Yes.
running football administration. Do you think this has affected our chances? Because the Super Eagles missed out on the World
They
Cup.
missed out.
The Super Falcons are now missing out. So it's a kind of a retrogression for us.
That's it.
So do you think it's really a problem that people who are not sports inclined are administering our sports?
Yeah, I think so, because look at the way it has affected the Nigerian football. The Super Eagles, the Super Falcons, the Nigeria under 17. We miss almost all the major tournaments. So I think we should put into consideration the kind of people who head these bodies. It's very instrumental. Let's go into the field. We have people who have been into sports. Someone was saying in a show I held some days ago that the coach of the team, let it be a lady, because to a point a man cannot understand totally the make of a woman. It's football, right? I understand. It's not just all about the tactics. There's a woman-to-woman relationship. There's a woman-to-woman understanding that affects the
But
game.
we've seen someone like Randy Vardrum who was the coach, a foreign coach, and he
Yes.
did well. And he was a man, and
Yes.
he did his
Yeah,
job.
yeah, he did well, right? But I just think that there should be consideration of not just the coach, but the body itself. They should look towards people who have been in football, maybe past players who have been in football. They know the game. I think it would help because taking people who are not, they don't understand anything about football. You put them into an administrative role. That's what you expect.
All right, so it doesn't seem like we are crying over spilled
Milk.
milk. Let's just move on. The deed has been done,
Yeah, it
but
has.
it's quite unfortunate.
Mm.
We didn't see that coming. We
No, we
expected
didn't.
that, okay, at least the playoff should give us some hope after crashing out from the WAFCONs.
Yeah.
Let's go to something a bit soothing now, because sometimes you just need that relief.
Yeah.
And I think the Tigers, talking about basketball now,
Yeah.
the Tigers, the Nigeria's women team in basketball,
Yeah.
they gave us some encouraging news yesterday. They've ended their 3-game exhibition series against China on a high, defeating the host 88-77 in that final meeting in Fushan. So Nigeria had lost the first 2 games of the series, but responded, strongly in the third
Yeah.
to secure that victory. So as we continue preparations for the FIBA,
Yeah.
the FIBA Women's Basketball Championship, after losing the first 2 meetings, how significant do you think this is for the Tigers ahead of the World Cup?
Now, talking about significance, you look at then the Group B of the World Cup. You see Hungary in the World Cup. You see Korea. You see that. So we have an Asian team we're going to be facing in the World Cup.
And those are strong
They're
teams.
very strong, and that's why the basketball body had to say, you know what, we need to face an Asian team. Let's know how they play. Let's know the way their game is. Let's know a whole lot about the Asian team. And I think it's not really about how many times we lost. It's about we played them the first, we played them the second, and we played them the third. And then we won one. At least we understand their game to a point, right? We played the first and second, and then the third we won it. It means that we understand. So it's instrumental to the game itself, the proper, which is against Korea in the Group Bs. That's close to the World Cup. You look at Hungary also. It's an European country, but we're playing Spain and Belgium later in the phase 2 of the next phase of the camp training. So I think it's a very good preparation towards the main event itself. I think they're going to be, if we had this for the football, the WAFCON, if we had this same kind of
Preparations.
I think we'd have better results coming in.
All right, we are hoping that the Tigers can continue to make us proud, because the Super Falcons just have to go rest a bit.
Yeah,
And
they
our hopes now on the Tigers. They've been doing fine for a while. So now let's go all the way to Europe.
Yeah.
It's raining transfers here and there. It's just a few days to the beginning of a new season, but that has not stopped transfer activities from different clubs in Europe. A big one now, I don't know if you call it a rumor. Yeah, Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez is at the center of a major transfer saga. Manchester City reportedly interested in the Argentine midfielder, and Chelsea is asking for about 120 million pounds. And they've even set a deadline for that particular move. So, Sebastian, Chelsea has been one of the busiest clubs this transfer window. But now they are trying to defend one of their key players. They've been able to attract a couple of good names, good players, big names.
Yeah.
But now they want to do everything possible to make sure they don't lose one of their own big names. What's your read on this situation? So is Enzo Fernandez genuinely available, or Chelsea is simply making it clear that City, if you want him, you have to pay the price? So do you think they are just playing some mind games, or it's a real transaction on the table?
Personally, I think Man City, Chelsea are playing mind games. They don't want to sell Enzo Fernandez. They know what Enzo Fernandez brings to the team. They know what he can do. Looking at the team, look at the midfield, Chelsea's midfield. You have Remo Lavia, you have Moises Cascado, you have Enzo Fernandez. Look, there's no player in that team that brings that spice that Enzo Fernandez brings to the midfield. Look at his goal contributions last season. He beat Anderson, the new guy that comes to Man City. He beat Tijani Regent, that's the one that's about going.
Manchester City.
Yes, he beats almost every midfielder that is in. Even Foden, even didn't even have a good spell last season. So Man City knows his worth. Chelsea knows his worth. So he do want to sell him. They say, okay, but the thing is, the player wants to leave. Player wants to leave. So he has been communicating, body communications already, that I want to leave. I want something better, right? But so Chelsea are like, you know what? Okay, if he doesn't want to stay,
Then we need to
and
cash out.
we need him. So if he's gonna go, we're gonna put a whole lot of money on
So that we don't lose on both ends.
so you're like going to the market to get something, and you don't want to sell, so you just hike the price because you know they won't be able to buy. 5 p.m. UK time today. How is that possible? But it's transfer window. Anything can happen.
Yeah, well, we've seen Manchester City pull lots of stunts when it
Yeah.
comes to transfers, and they are one of those clubs that can spend the money. You know, they can
Yes.
spend lavishly
Yeah.
when they see what they want. We've seen them do that with Anderson
Yes.
recently. We've seen them do that in the past with some other player, with Jack Grealish. Even though sometimes it flops.
It doesn't end well.
Because the Jack Grealish scenario, reminds me of how they publicized that particular transfer. Went all out, spent big,
A whole lot of
but
money.
somehow it
Didn't
never
work
worked out. Okay, we're still talking transfer now, and another one, a major one in Europe now. Barcelona have agreed to sell Spanish forward Ferran Torres to Paris Saint-Germain. No, I know it's funny, it's weird.
Yeah.
Because I feel the Barcelona team is still being assembled. They are still trying to put it together because it's been a while we had that formidable Barcelona team
Yeah.
compared to what we had 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just a team still in the making, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah.
So selling a player like Ferran Torres, we saw what he did at the World Cup. We saw his contribution. Now, in a deal reportedly worth around 50 million euro. Torres, he's had a good summer. He scored a winning goal in the World Cup. So, is this a big move for Torres? And do you think PSG is the place to go for him, considering the kind of talents that he would have to compete with in PSG?
When I saw that transfer, sincerely, Shegun, I looked at it, I was like, can this guy make top 11? Can he make the first 11 in the team? Because Ferran Torres is a good player. I checked his stats. He has about 18 goals in the Spanish La Liga last season, about 23 to 24 like contributions, all in all competitions. So good start. But you're going to a team like PSG, 2 consecutive Champions League. You have the likes of Ousmane Dembele. You have the likes of Bradley Barcola. These strikers, they show up day in, day out.
Except they are injured.
Yes. So normally, Ferran Torres is not that exceptional player, that player that he shows up every day. Now, the question is, you're going to a team where you have to show up every day. Can he make it happen? I'm not saying that, except the only exception is the coach, Luis Enrique. He knows how to turn a player who doesn't show up to a player that shows up. Ousmane Dembele, when he was in Barcelona, injuries here and there. But look at what Ousmane Dembele is. So, with the exception, you have Luis Enrique. I think he can be that player that PSG can. He can move PSG forward.
So finally, on transfers,
Yeah.
Manchester City winger Savinho pushing for a move to Tottenham. I know most likely because of playing time. Last season, he really didn't have that much of playing time, and he has already made it clear to City that he wants to leave and join Spurs. Even though the both clubs will still have to work out things. City already have lots of people in the attack, so Savinho is a young, talented player. Why would he want to leave? And I think we can even answer that already. Okay, let's say playing time. But is Tottenham the good destination for him?
Okay, now I think it's all centered, like we said, on the playing time. You're a young player. Savinho is 22, and being 22, as a footballer, you have to have playing time. In Manchester City, he was bought into the club, and Guardiola doesn't give players a whole lot of time. And then they bought Antoine Semenyo, who plays actually the same left wing with Savinho. And Semenyo, his goal contributions last season was top notch. He had about 17 goals last season. That's second behind Erling Haaland. So Savinho needs playing time. Savinho wants to make it happen in a club, and he needs to find a club where he can play consistent football. It's all about consistent football. So in Tottenham, there is no actual threat in the wings. There's no true actual threat in the wings. And that's why he thinks that Tottenham can give him a chance. Tottenham can give Savinho a chance, and he wants that chance. He wants to play consistent football.
So if we pull all of this together, from the Super Falcons of Nigeria to the Tigress, giving us some good vibes there,
Yeah.
that we have something to look forward to,
Yeah.
and the activities that are related to the transfer window.
Yeah.
What is your own story of the week? Which particular story got your attention the most?
I think the Super Falcons story. It's a show of the how Nigerian football is going down. It's very sad, but we just have to face reality, and we need to work. Yeah, so it's a Super Falcons story.
Thank you so much for joining this morning,
Thank you so much.
Sebastian Salifu. All right, that's all we have for you this morning on the Bumper Sport. Thanks also for joining on the Breakfast News. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. It's at MITV Plus on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, and X. It's at MITV Plus _NG. You can also watch our programs live on YouTube at MITV Plus _NG. Don't forget to click on the like and subscribe button. And I'll hand you over to Tong and Okwe for discussion on in-depth stories in-depth discussion of stories that made the news. Rather, my name is Shegun Akinola. Have a beautiful day.